Hey folks, I am Troy and you're watching TroyTube. One of the things I've been wanting to take a look at lately is the new Cricut Bright 360 light. So I ordered one and we're going to take a look at it today. So some of the things that really interested me about the Cricut Bright 360 light was the technology and the design of the light. So my office at home back in Louisville, one of the things I did, that it's down in the basement. We have a finished basement. It's kind of in the kitchen and dining area of that finished basement, and there's a drop ceiling, and it had the 2 foot by 4 foot ceiling tiles. So I took out the regular light fixtures that were down there, and I put in the LED panel lights down there that were a little bit more expensive, but they light very evenly, very softly. They're just a different kind of light that is much easier on the eyes. They're not sharp. They are not it's very hard to describe. They don't flicker. Very like I said, I just really can't describe it until you've worked under that kind of lighting as to how it compares to regular incandescent lamps or tube fluorescent lighting, or even other indirect types of lighting like halogen or some of the other LED lights. But there are those LED panel lights, and by that I mean they are just a flat panel and the entire thing lights up. There's no hot or cold spots throughout the light. And so I've seen some different LED lights. If you watch me long enough, I have a degree in electronic engineering, so these things really kind of intrigue me, and I've watched the technology evolve over the years. And a couple of things that I did when we bought our place here in Florida was I said I'm going to get a Cricut light. I'm also going to get a couple other lights because I need some good lighting for a video. As a matter of fact, the light I'm using right now for this video is the Cricut light. So I'll reach over and I'll dim it here so you can see, and I'll brighten it back up, and I'll adjust the temperature so you can see the color difference that it can handle. And so I also bought a floor standing light. I'll show you here in a moment. That's kind of just a floor lamp that shines up on the ceiling that I can also angle, and I use it a little bit on my videos. I also have an light that clamps onto my desk. I wanted to get one of those to compare so I can show you the difference between it. And when I got it, I also realized that it really wasn't much different from this little strip I put over my monitor. I have one of these back home in Louisville that I use when I'm on my webcam to just kind of make sure that my face isn't too dark. It has a little control here mounted. It's powered by USB, and I can control the brightness and the cool and warm adjustments as well. And I'm going to show you the difference between those types of lights and the Cricut light as far as how the LEDs work. Now, before we do that, we'll talk a little bit about the specs of the light. We'll talk about there's adjustments for the brightness, there's adjustments for warm and cool. Now, if you're not really up on lighting, there's the differences. The way I would describe it is warm lighting is more like the sun, more yellow or orange tinted lighting. When its lighting is cool, it's more of a blue tint. And so you can adjust the light in between those, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then you also have, of course, the brightness or dim switch control that goes from bright all the way down to turning the light off all the way. Getting the light out of the box and putting it together was a breeze. Cricut hit a home run on this one. The light is designed really well. You have the base, the power supply, and the main part of the light itself. All you have to do is put the base down and take the lamp and set it down on the little post and push it down till you hear a little click, and then plug in the power supply. You're ready to go. It's that easy. Absolute home run when it comes to putting that light together. That's the desktop model. That's the one I have. I have not seen the floor model. I'd say it's probably very similar. They really hit a home run on that aspect of assembly and getting it out of the box and being able to set it up and use it within a couple of minutes. That's the gratification of a crafter, right? Get it out of the box and be using it within a couple of minutes. And so that was a really quite a home run. So I'm glad I had these other two lights, the Ott light and then this other one that I bought from Amazon. I paid about $60 for the floor lamp. I paid $85 for the Ott light. The Cricut table lamp's about $200. And Yeah, I think it's worth it if you really look at the difference in how they work. And this little light, to be honest, this little light on top of my monitor I put up here for my webcam, it was about $15. And I do not see, 15 versus 85 for this light, I do not see $70 worth of difference between those two lights. Maybe 30 or 40 for the assembly and everything, but functionality, there's not that much difference between the two and how they work and the brightness and everything. So if anything's overpriced, I'd say it's this light in my opinion. The Cricut light, one of the things I'll show you in a minute is when it comes to using it for weeding, and I'll explain that as well. So let me move the camera around, show you a few things, show you why I'm really impressed with this, and I'll tell you why. Again, you people watching this, if you didn't see my other video, people will say, hey, he's just saying this because he works for Cricut. I do not work for Cricut anymore. I left my job with Cricut the first of the year. I bought this with my own money. I don't give opinions on things I like unless I truly like them. I have a heat press sitting here in the corner that I was sent by the manufacturer to review. I actually sent them an email today and asked them if they want to send me a shipping label and send it out, because I'm not going to do a video review on it because I wasn't comfortable with it. It was too, I'll just leave it at that. I wasn't comfortable putting my name behind that piece of equipment. So let me switch the camera around here and we'll talk about some of the features on the Cricut lamp that I like, and we'll talk about how it compares to the other ones, give you a good opinion on this, and show you why I like this so much. All right, so a couple of things I want to point out. First of all, the Cricut 360 light will rotate. You can turn this thing completely around. You do have the power cord attached, so you got to be mindful of that, but it will turn 360 degrees around if you have the room for it. I just hit my wall with it, but nice floating design, super smooth, easy to move. Can't say enough about that. The light itself does turn completely up this way. It goes all the way around to the other side, and it goes up to a complete vertical angle. It does not go completely around the other way. There's limitations, there's connections in here, but it does have quite an angle there. One of the things you see here is kind of a counterbalance, and you see a rod attached here that allows the mechanics of the light. I'm going to do it from the top here, but you see as I lower it, the top part of the light maintains its angle as I go up and down, so it doesn't tilt with the arm, so it maintains its angle. Super nice. I'm going to show you why that's super nice here in a minute when I show you how I use it to weed, and why I was so excited about this, because I had actually planned to design a weeding light at one point, and this takes care of what I was wanting to do, and I'll show you why. On the light itself, of course, the power cord, again, when you put it together, this piece, there's a little stem at the bottom. You just slide it right down on there and push down firmly until you hear a little click, and it's assembled. It's that simple. This is a pretty heavy base. I haven't weighed it, but it weighs a few pounds, so it's not going anywhere. You have the brightness dim control, goes all the way down to turn it off. And then you have your temperature control. So if I push it all the way down, it will go to a warm light. So if you watch my desk, you'll be able to really tell. You see it kind of turns to an orange color. That's a warm light. If I go all the way up, it goes to a cool light. And I usually keep mine right about in the middle, maybe just above. I like to adjust it to match the rest of the lights in my room. I have overhead lights, I have the floor lamp, and then I have the up light that I use sometimes as well. Usually use this when I'm reading paperwork or doing certain things. I haven't really touched it much since I got the Cricut light. I like it so well. You'll see why here in a minute, because I'm going to move the camera around and show you exactly why it's so different. Now I'm going to point the Cricut light at the camera and show you that panel I was talking about. And I'll dim it, maybe you can see it a little better. Oops, not too dim. But you can see how evenly lit the entire LED is. The light is not replaceable. It's an LED panel that is rated for 40,000 hours. So, this is going to last a really long time. Same with those lights I was talking about that I put in my office at home. They're rated for very long periods of time, and they won't burn out like a regular incandescent lamp or a regular fluorescent bulb or anything like that. And so this is just a wonderful piece of equipment. The engineering, I couldn't say enough about how smooth this is. This is one thing I did not get to see in person when I worked for Cricut. Disappointed I didn't get to experience that and use it and get to try it out when I worked there. But glad that I did now and was able to pick one up and get it down here to Florida where I can use it and do this video evaluation for you guys and give you my opinion on it. Don't know if I'll get the floor model yet. I kind of like the desk lamps. I like to move them around to wherever I'm working at and set them up to based on what I'm doing. So we'll see if I decide to get it or not. So let me move the camera around. I'm going to show you a couple of things with these other lights that I have and show you why I don't like them so much compared to a light like this. So this is the floor lamp that I bought. I paid about $60 for this on Amazon, and it does have a, I can angle it in one direction here, and I'll use this for my video sometimes just to kind of use a fill-in light. Works okay for me. It's kind of probably about the same quality as some of these ring lights that people use for cheap YouTube video lighting. It does have a remote control. I can't show you what's inside of it, although I did kind of pry it open a little bit and peek in there, but it's the same thing that's in the light that I can show you. And this is like I said, a floor lamp that kind of shines up on the ceiling, gives you indirect lighting, kind of lights up the whole room. Does a pretty good job. It's reminiscent of those old halogen lamps we had back in the 90s that I think they outlawed them because people were catching their curtains on fire with them, but same principle there. It does have a remote control. You can adjust the temperature and the brightness, everything with it. But when you do so, it does it in increments. It's not a smooth, it's like click, click, click type adjustment rather than a linear adjustment like you just saw on the Cricut lamp where you can move the slider and adjust it anywhere in between. It's in increments like percentages. It does jumps when you adjust it, and that's how the light works as well. Now with the light, I'm going to turn it on here and I'm going to turn down the brightness and try to show you what I'm talking about, and hopefully you can see these. Let's get it there. And so you can see there's two different colors of LEDs in here, and when I adjust the temperature, it switches between the warm, the cool, and a combination of those in order to give you that effect. And then the brightness, as you can see, is in increments just like the other light I was just talking about. This light is okay. It's not worth $85 in my opinion, because now I see the big difference between it and the Cricut light. And if I come over here and look at the one that's on my desk, or on my monitor rather, and I'll turn the brightness down on it so you can see it, and you'll see it is essentially the same thing. And it's a little bit harder to see probably, but it has the same cool and warm light combinations where there's cool, there's warm, and there's the combination of the two, just like the light. And like I said, I paid $85 for that light. I paid $15 for that little strip light, and they're essentially the same thing except for that mount. And I just, I don't see the difference for $80 worth of light for those two compared to what you get out of them. So we're going to turn this off, and then we're going to set the camera back up, and I'm going to show you the final thing that I'm excited about that I use this Cricut light for when it comes to weeding. Now here is exactly what I was talking about with weeding, and why I was so excited about this light, and why I think this is one of the biggest things that it's going to be very useful for when people see how to use it properly. When you're weeding, one of the big problems with lighting that I've seen is you're typically creating a shadow over your work while you're working. The light is up here, you're creating a shadow on what you're working on, and you can't see the cut lines to weed. So I've always had to try to position myself so I could see the glare of the cut lines off of the vinyl. And this is removable vinyl, so it's matte finish, so it's not it doesn't have even as much glare as the permanent vinyl does. That's glossy, but you can still see the effect here, I think, on camera when I do this. And so, you know, this is why when people use the bright pads or other light pads to shine from underneath, in certain circumstances, they don't even help because of the type of material they're working with. In some circumstances they do, some they don't. For some people they do, so for some people they don't. And a lot of that is depending on what they're doing with it. So with the Bright 360 lamp, I can grab it and push it down below my head and get that glare a lot easier. And now I can see where I need to weed a lot better. And I can see my cut lines much better. And so hopefully you can see that glare on the camera. I don't know if you can or not, but for me, having this light below my eyes and having that angle, I can see this just 1,000 times better now than I could when the light was up here. Like right there, I can't even see these cut lines. I have no idea where they are, but when I move it down there, don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but I can see that so much better because now the light is below my eyes instead of above my head, casting shadows on what I'm working on. And now when I'm finished, actually I got a couple more there. When I'm finished, this light is super easy to move around. I just flip it right back up there and it's done. So again, that totally takes care of the biggest thing I've seen that is the problem with weeding, is the lighting and the angle and creating shadows when you're trying to work on your project. When you're able to bring that light down here like this and work with your light at an angle coming in under your hands and being able to see the glare and the lighting hitting it without you casting shadows on it. So there you have my opinion of the Cricut Bright 360 lamp. That's the desktop model again. I would expect the floor model is very similar, just a taller floor standing model from the desktop. Again, I can't say enough about it. I love it. Cricut did not ask me to do a review. They did not send me the lamp. I paid for it, had it shipped here, and I bought these other lamps on my own to compare to it, and just kind of took advantage of the opportunity of setting up a new office at our place here in Florida to do that, and I'm very pleased with it. Kind of think it looks like the Pixar lamp. What do you think? You know, that's the first thing I thought of when I set it up. It's like, hey, it makes me think about Pixar. It's kind of cool. Anyway, if you don't have one yet and you're thinking about buying one, I'll put a link in the video description down below that I'll get a commission for if you just decide to buy one. If you click that link, that'll help support my channel and everything I do. Again, I no longer work for Cricut. They didn't ask me to do this, and you know, I wouldn't give a review like that if I didn't really like and wasn't happy with the product. You know, if you have any questions or comments, post them down below the video, and we'll see if I can answer them. But really, really happy with that, and excited to see what Cricut comes out with next, because that light's pretty impressive.